Those are the Creoles. So, okay. Welcome to the TrollbloodScrum live on Twitch, hosted on Hand Cannon Online. I'm Fraser. I don't know. This sounds all wrong. I don't know why I stopped there. Anyways, we'll try it one more time.
That was not your inner Matt. That was
that was me. That was my going into into For New Gamers.
Wrong podcast there, big guy.
No, it was the right. It was the right podcast. It was the wrong tone. Okay. So I always try to push the Hand Cannon Online stuff as well, and I always miss it. Anyways, we'll try this again. So there we go. Deep calming breath. Welcome to TrollbloodScrum, the Trollblood podcast on Hand Cannon Online. Tonight, we are joined by... I know I forgot the one-liner. Damn it. That makes it look so easy. You're welcome.
Well, I got bumped and logged in, so I'm in twice now.
Okay,
I hope that's
good.
okay with you guys.
That's fine. Oh, yeah, it's trippy. I'm seeing two of you.
Hey! I actually have a little bit of hair in that picture. That's amazing.
Well, Danny's going to get nothing but good stuff to fill for the outtake reel. Okay, here we go. Last time, promise. Welcome to another episode of TrollbloodScrum, where... Matt,
I'm sorry, Dallas. He's from Canada. You got to give him...
No, don't give me that, Matt. I've got enough outtakes.
Oh, it's a Canada thing.
Okay, last time. Welcome to
8.
Take 8. Yes, or no, I think we're in double digits now, right? Okay, here we go.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome to another episode of TrollbloodScrum, where when... Do you want to... No, last time. Got it. I got it this time.
Don't make me take it from you. I don't want to.
It's almost...
Don't stop. Just go.
Almost... Welcome to another episode of TrollbloodScrum. When one Dallas isn't enough, we have to bring in another. That's close enough. Tonight,
close enough.
On the line, we have our regular, the guy, Dallas.
Yo, what's up?
And we also have on the line another Dallas.
Hi.
Lucky sucker.
And myself, I'm just sort of putting myself at the end of the list. This is Fraser, DeffHeadDice on the forum, and the spammer of the internet. So we are extremely excited to include Dallas Kemp, who is well known in our community as a fantastic painter and happens to be a employee of one of our favorite companies, Privateer Press. So thank you so much for joining us, sir.
No problem. Great to be on.
Awesome. So I'm going to jump right into the agenda because I have to do what I read. So we're going to start off into this is what happens when you podcast 2 times in a row.
Just so you know, Dallas, we have a long history of being bad at this.
Yeah,
That's perfect.
I used up all my good stuff on the Moose Machine podcast earlier. So we're going to go through the agenda. And so the first item is news. So we're looking for new Trollblood stuff. And actually, Privateer Press has announced or published the artwork, the cover art, for the new Army book. So I don't know if either of you guys got to see it. I'm sure, well, Dallas, I'm sure you've seen it, but...
I've seen it.
We've all seen it, but...
you're talking to him. Yes. Him.
Yeah, so we've seen the outside of the book where the artwork looks fantastic. It's got our new casters. It's got some nice character beasts in the background. But I think the most awesome part of this is it's available as a print, which I found out recently. So I know it's going to be going up on my wall very soon.
Yeah, it's going to fit nicely between my print. It was the Mark II Madrak and the Hunter's Grim prints are the two I have. So I think it'll look nicely sitting next to those two on my wall.
Yeah, and I really like the new format.
I think you'll like the inside too.
Yeah, well, we're not allowed to talk about that, so.
There's an inside? Show off.
Yeah. And you say we're not, and they were worried about us not saying anything or asking you questions we're not supposed to, and here you are baiting us.
Well, he can insinuate all he wants.
Yeah, that's true. So that was the other pieces. They did announce a date for I believe Madrak 2 is coming out in December as well. So Madrak
Madrak
3.
2?
Sorry, 3. I corrected myself.
Madrak 3. Oh
Yeah.
man, Fraser.
I know.
You're batting 1,000 today.
Yeah, well, you know what? It's well, at least I'm here. So,
Geez, win a game with Borkin, and all of a sudden you do whatever the crap you want, huh?
Apparently, that's the world is now my oyster. So yeah, so we've got Wrathrock as well as Madrak without Wrathrock, which is kind of sad. But we got Madrak 3 as well as the new is it the Pummeler, the Pulverizer, the new Alturi.
It's the Pummeler,
Yeah, Pummeler, and that looks really nice as well. Say, Dallas, did you have anything to do with the paint job on that one?
You're not talking.
I painted that guy.
There you go. So how did you find that one? How was that one to paint? I like the face on it. But how did you find it was for painting?
So I just finished him up recently, and I thought he was a lot of fun to paint. It's a very good sculpt. It was sculpted by Brian Degas.
Oh, nice.
And he has a lot of nice, interesting elements on him. So a lot of fun to paint. And figuring out the albino flesh on a troll is actually
It's
a
hard
more
to do.
involved process. It's more involved than I thought.
Well, we're going to talk about it a little bit later, so be prepared.
And,
I have my recipe.
yeah,
All right,
perfect.
let's talk about it now. That's a good segue.
Sure. Throw my agenda out. That's fine.
No, we'll talk about it in a minute.
Okay.
Sorry.
Now you're confusing me.
We'll do whatever you want.
So
I was going to say, I've always loved the Thumper. I think the Thumper's been one of my favorites, and I think they kind of captured the same personality with the Pummeler. I think they both look fantastic. And frankly, I wish they saw more time on the table. I think there's still some hold off from Mark II and Mark I. So hopefully that will change more.
We've talked about the rules. The rules are fantastic for that model too.
Yeah,
So.
I think the Pummeler looks pretty good. So
That Pummeler is pretty good.
Now, can I ask, is it, and if you can't answer the question, I'm sorry, because I'm going off script. Is it a resin model with a bit of metal, or is it all metal, or what's the material that's used for that?
I don't know. I didn't paint that,
Oh, okay.
so I don't have that off the top of my head.
Oh, no worries. I'm sorry. I for some reason I thought you had painted that one. My bad. So moving on. Okay. So,
man, Fraser, way to make it awkward, buddy.
Yeah, I'm just trying to make sure that no one else ever wants to guest appear on this show. That way I can say whatever I want whenever I want without offending anybody.
There you go. Hey, now you're on with the way Matt and I do it. That's
there it goes. So
you're on to us.
So I can't think if there's any. I don't think there's any other Trollblood related rules. I think news. I think the only other thing is that their Privateer Press is reaching out for play testers, and there's a whole play tester package where you can apply for that online. I know I'm not looking at that because I play almost every game I play. I put onto Home Machine, and I'm pretty sure that would break like 5 or 6 of the NDA rules, so I can't do it. But
I'm way too biased to be a play tester. I would like to be a play tester, but I don't give a crap about anything else other than trolls, really.
True. And
That's not true. I'm in the middle of building a Unmage list, and my long-term plans are a Lely's resistance list, so I'm branching out a little bit, but
I'm totally jealous because I would love to play test. I would love to be a play tester, but I'm not allowed.
They don't even let you look at stuff and try it out?
No. I meant because I worked there. I was like, I want to apply for this position. I'm like, oh wait, I'm not external.
Oh, gotcha.
They figure
you're an internal play tester. Isn't that part of the default job for everyone that works there? Internal play tester?
Sometimes.
Depends on the feedback, I guess, too. If you ever
I was inadvertently
maybe I'm biased.
Oh, Kador's almost as cool as trolls.
Not quite. Eventually, maybe, possibly. I think for news, I think that was everything we had to cover off this week. I don't think there's anything else, and if there is, let us know in the chat. So.
Yeah, Matt will correct us next week. He's got his thumb on more of that stuff.
That's good. So moving on to hobby, and we're actually moving the hobby section to the main topic. So we're skipping hobby temporarily, and then we'll roll right into games played. So Dallas, Trollblood Dallas, have you played any games this week?
So I actually played my first Rumble game.
Oh, nice.
2 weeks ago, and so we tried it again last week for the Crossroads of Courage. And I got to be honest.
What do you think of that?
Say what?
What do you think of that?
The Crossroads? We're having fun with it. So I have a long history of playing multiplayer battles, 2-on-2, or 1-on-1-on-1, stuff like that. And I really like the way you deploy in the Rumble format. Everyone's really close. So the minute you hit the table, and you kind of don't want to go first, because nothing's on the table. If you deploy first, no one else is there.
Yep. And
so I don't know if you know, Fraser, but how Rumble deployment works is everything advances onto the table, and then that player takes their turn.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're playing on a 30-inch by 30-inch square in the middle of the board, with whatever scenario you've chosen from Crossroads. But with us, we've had 4. And so when player 1 advances onto the table and takes their turn, nobody's on the table. Then player 2 and 3 advance on, and they get to shoot the crap out of player 1. And then they got to worry about whoever's moving onto the table after them showing up, because you can't really do anything to them. They're not there. And luckily, both games I've been able to go last, and it's fun, man. I ended up winning my first one, and I got killed on the second one that I did because they ganged up on me. But I have a lot of fun. You advance in with your Mountain King or Gargantuan. The guy that's been playing with us has a conquest, and it usually comes down to that. But we all have 35-point lists. My Mountain King stomps onto the table, and the first time he advanced onto the table and then trampled a whole unit of Banes, which was awesome.
Yeah,
it was awesome. And then the second time, he advances on, and then he charges a unit of, what's the 4 snipers? Widowmaker snipers?
Widowmakers, yeah.
Widowmakers.
Yeah, he charged one of those, and between the assault spray, the charge attack, and the kill shot, I killed all of those 4 guys. Plus, almost took down Torch at the same time. It was pretty awesome. So, and it's just fun. You're on top of each other by the time the game even starts, and it's very aggressive. You have nowhere to hide. You just got to go after each other and hope you can survive. Yep. It's been fun. We've been enjoying it. We've played the old Jeb scenario twice, both times, and that's really hard for the one player that has to try and protect Jeb. But when Jeb dies, we haven't been making him lose the game. We've just been he has to win other ways. So it's been lots of fun. We have lots of fun with that. So nice. Also, I love the Mountain.
Nice.
Can't wait till I get my Glacier King, because then I can play him. My double Kings list is going to be fabulous. I'm still eagerly awaiting, Fraser. I'm like a giddy little schoolgirl.
Yeah, the resin's been ordered. That's the last update I have. So we got to, because we're doing some.
But that's it. That's all I've played the last few weeks is a couple Rumble battles. So we're working on our battle boxes right now for my demos. And as soon as I'm done, my kids are we're going to start doing some battle box matches at home as my 7-year-old, 10-year-old get back into the game and start whooping my fanny again. So
awesome. What about you, Dallas?
That's it.
What about other Dallas? Have you played any games in the last week?
In the last week.
Or since ever.
Weeks.
This today. Yeah, I've gotten some games in. I usually been testing out my Kozlov list. And I like running my Conquest with Kozlov because I like real big POW 23 punchy fists running across the board and beating the crap out of stuff.
Dude, I love the Conquest, Dallas. I got to be honest with you. I think that's technically the Cato army is my battle box for the Pressginger stuff, but my 7-year-old's playing it, and I think we're going to get him the Conquest and then some snipers. I think to get him going. I think that's the way to go.
Nice.
Oh yeah. Widowmaker marksman, Widowmaker snipers, Conquest. I'm also a huge fan of Juggernauts. I like to run like 3 or 4 Juggernauts.
I like Juggernaut.
Yep.
But now I'm gonna So my girl all through Mark II was Zerkova 1.
Oh.
I played her almost exclusively through Mark II. And now I'm working on little Zerkova 2 and going to start dabbling in her.
Nice. Nice. I got a buddy that swore by Zerkova all the time, no matter what anyone said. He couldn't say bad things about her. He'd get mad at you. So
people make fun of her, and then but I have a pretty good win-loss ratio with her, and it's all about the scenario play with her, and not trying to kill the army. I don't care about your army. I'm going to use Force Blast to blow holes open in your army and send a unit of Doom Reavers on your caster.
Nice. That's just rude. And
that's my goal. That's my goal.
I like it. I like your theories and want to subscribe to your newsletter.
Oh, it's cheap. What about you, Fraser? What game did you play this week?
Nice. We can't hear you, Fraser, because you're still on mute.
He's on mute.
Podcasting excellence, Dallas. This is what we do without Matt. Fraser, unmute your mic.
I've pushed it like twice, and it keeps unmuting and not unmuting. Wow.
We are not doing well.
Nothing like impressing the guest, right? That's what we're doing here. So,
boy, Privateer Press is going to let us have one of them on again.
Oh, yeah. Hang on. I'm getting a message from HQ.
Beam directly into your skull, right?
I understand.
Yes. So my game was I had a home machine game against one of our local Kador players. Actually brought Vlad 1, and I dropped the list we came up last episode of the TrollbloodScrum, which was a Borka 2 list we worked together with Jason Flanzer. So the list is in the previous show notes. It was he brought for Kador, he brought Vlad 2, he brought a Conquest, he had a couple eliminators, which were a bit of a pain. He had 2 Marks, not Mark. Who's the guys with the axe? You had Yuri the axe, and then 2 other guys like him. I forget the name of them. The
Manhunters.
Manhunters, thank you.
Manhunters.
And a unit of the Rifle Guard, Winter Rifle Guard, Winter Guard Riflemen. There we go.
Winter Guard Riflemen.
There we go. So it was a lot
Rifle Corps.
Thank you. So I'm doing it just to tick him off by saying the wrong names. It's Vlad 1. So no, it was Vlad 2. And so the game went out. It was
That's
interesting.
all that matters.
Yeah. So it was an interesting game because both of us were kind of intimidated by some of what he was bringing. He didn't like my double fire eaters. I didn't like his eliminators. In the end, it was really grindy. We couldn't play the scenario. It was the scenario 1, which is entrenched. So neither of us were really doing anything for scenario. And in the end, he thought he had an opportunity to take out Borka because I'd left myself only on 2 Fury. And what happened is his Conquest missed some shots and just didn't do enough damage. So in the end, he left himself open to my Mauler, my Earthborn, and my Fellcaller, and Borka if I had needed to get him up there. And we didn't even roll it out. There was no chance he could have survived, so we just called the game there. So it was a long game, but it was good and grindy, and it was a fun list. Like I'm beginning to understand why people enjoy Borka 2 as much as they do, because it was just a real fun game. Long, and again, if anyone wants to watch it, it's up on the Home Machine stream. But it was a fun game. So
lots of games that involve Kador and trolls are long.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a
Did
short
you say he shot with his Conquest?
Yep.
Yeah, I saw him flinch. He's like, no, you punch with the Conquest.
No, he was
punch with the Conquest.
He was shooting. Well, he was worried that my Mauler and something would come in and one round him. I think it was the concern he had, because a raged Mauler with can do about 41.5 points of damage under normal circumstances. So he was a little concerned of me taking him out in one, because I had 3 heavies in my list, so we probably could do, if he got too close, we could do some real damage to him. So he decided just to pot shot.
Yeah, but does Vlad 2 with a Conquest, does that out-threat the Mauler and Borka?
I don't
Not
think...
with Borka 2.
No.
Not with Borka 2.
No.
Yeah, Borka 2 can deliver the beast a little bit, but under normal circumstances, their threat range is similar.
Yeah.
Okay.
But with Borka 2, we can, same with Grim 1, we've got just a hair more threat ability depending on
And
how
not to
we
mention,
apply it.
Borka has a better survivability too, so...
He does.
More boxes. So it was a fun game. You can, again, watch it up on the YouTubes for those who want to watch it.
I watched it today at work because, I was working hard.
Oh, good. Awesome.
Sorry for listening. I was still working, I promise.
Yeah, of course. Working it hard preparing for the podcast. So, okay. So that's games. I'm sure Matt played something, but we don't know. So we'll move on to the hobbies, or the main section, which is also our hobby section, which is we're going to focus on the other Dallas. We're going to focus on Dallas Kemp as you bring a bit of the hobby element along with you when you're joining us here. So let's start with an introduction.
I bring the hobby element wherever I go.
Very, very true. You just have a little attaché case with paints in it. You can go wherever you want to.
Yeah.
Perfect. Good.
He's like the James Bond of the hobby side of the game.
I keep seeing him pick
More
up
like the Elwood Blues.
Okay, Elwood Blues. I can go with that.
And you're also, I also know you're good at hobby because you're picking up whatever you're drinking and it's not your paint water you're drinking by mistake. So there we go.
That's right.
Yeah. A true
Lesson
test.
learned a long time ago.
True test of a good hobbyist is you don't drink your paint water. Okay, so let's start off. I got a bunch of questions here for you. So why don't we, if you just walk us through who you are, and although everyone knows who you are, but more of what your role at Privateer Press is currently.
Okay, currently. So my name is Dallas Kemp, and I'm the miniature painting and hobby manager at Privateer Press.
Awesome. And what
Does
is
that make sense?
And hobby manager. So what is that? What is that specifically?
So all of our terrain. Did y'all see? So the
yeah.
tables.
Oh yes.
The tables that like lock and load for the Iron Gauntlet and stuff like that.
Did
those
you
are
make
made
the Trollblood's table?
I did not.
Oh, that.
We have a terrain specialist named Michael Archer.
Oh yes, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so Michael Archer is our terrain specialist, and then we have our studio painter, Brendan Roy. And so I kind of oversee them.
Okay. That's very cool.
That is.
We're not jealous at all.
No.
I promise.
Still a job.
Yeah.
It's still a job, but none of us want to be you, I promise. Except we do.
Speak for yourself.
Except for the part where we do.
Yeah, completely that part. So, okay. So, and so the next question I had for you is, and you've painted a lot of stuff. Would you, which Trollblood models have you painted, and which one is your favorite?
I have painted. What have I painted? I painted Madrak 3, like we talked a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I painted the Rock Resculpt.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Rock Resculpt.
Right?
Yeah.
That thing is so awesome looking.
He's finally big enough.
Oh my gosh, I can't remember everything I've ever painted. Oh, Ragnar. And I feel like there's something else.
Did you do the...
Well, we're super excited about Madrak 3. And
Absolutely.
there's been some discussion, and I've seen it online and locally, about how smooth his spears are. And I think our only basis of comparison is the Impaler spears. But personally, and I haven't seen the model yet, other than the pictures of the work in progresses, but I personally like how clean they look and how good the runes are carved into them. So you can really get that glowy rune effect on them a lot easier than some of the other stuff I've had to work with. And so personally, I'm excited, but I've heard people both sides of it.
I don't understand what they mean by smooth, because the spear tip is, got it's got the edge and the inlay, and it's got runes.
Oh, it's so cool looking.
And then it's got like a brass bar,
Yeah.
And then it's got like a decorative bit, and then it's got like cloth wraps, and then another decorative bit. So I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot happening.
What I think they mean by smooth is they mean like it looks more. So a lot of times when people envision trolls, they envision this tribal, more backcountry, less technologically advanced. And how are they creating something that looks so manufactured? If that makes any sense, you know, they're not in a city.
But they're still craftsmen.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, and I guess maybe you have to delve into the history a little bit, but trolls are pretty good stoneworkers by their own right.
I mean, they're ironworkers too. I mean, yeah. Horgel the anvil, that guy walks around with an anvil.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Like he literally has an anvil on him at all times.
That's pretty badass. Anyways, I like the runes and the sculpt, and you've been painting on them, so I wanted to see what you thought about them.
They're real detailed. I mean, it's a like I said, it's a very detailed spirit. It's got a lot of personality in each one. So
cool.
I dig them.
I think that's very cool. Like that was one of the first things I noticed when I saw the picture of the model, and I got a little bit more excited than a grown man should get over a 2.5 inch tall figurine. So
the shield is way cooler though.
That was my call.
The shield's
yeah, the shield.
Like that shield is so dope.
Oh, it looks gorgeous, and I'm waiting. I don't think we've actually seen the whole shield. We've just seen sort of one angle of it too. So
we've only got the one angle on it.
Yeah, because so like on his body is kind of facing, and it shield's kind of up. So right, can you see?
Yeah, we're seeing.
Wait until you get to 360.
Cool.
But the shield is like these steel plates.
Oh.
It's got brass edging. It's got brass rune plates.
Ooh.
It's got strings of the little like stone rune.
Oh, nice.
Oh, wow.
Like his collar used to have.
Yeah, it's got a string of those. And it's got some spikes, and it's got the sub layer is actually stone.
Oh, nice.
Cool. That's pretty cool. I don't hate that at all.
Yeah, it's pretty cool looking shield, and it actually has some pretty cool in-game effects.
Oh, now you're hinting, huh?
I mean, how cool would it be if the shield was just like giving protective aura?
That would be pretty sweet.
That would be.
I think that was the hint from the blurb that came out when they showed the model, and personally, I like the krill stone, but I don't like feeling like I have to bring it all the time. And so having a caster that can pull that off, if that's indeed what he does, that would be really, really, for me, that'd be cool, because then I don't have to. I can invest points elsewhere.
Well, now you just save some points with Madrak 3.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Or
speculated
you
and
take
confirmed.
The
we just got confirmed.
That's confirmed.
That's cool.
So now you can take Madrak, and your core of your army can be all protective aura, and then you can have your flanks or your vanguard with the krillstone under protective aura. So you're getting double bubble.
Ooh, see, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
I'm coining that now. The double bubble.
Double bubble.
Patent pending.
Double bubble.
Oh boy. Well, now I got to paint a krill stone up that looks like a bubblegum wrapper.
Yeah.
Nice pink stone.
Bazooka Joe.
That's your fault. Dang it.
Bazooka Joe for Gunbjorn.
I like it. I think that's gonna be. Yeah. That sounds cool, man. Well, I think he looks great. I've been playing this game since right after Primal came out, and so Madrak 1 has long been one of my I've played him more than almost any other caster, and each iteration of him just reminds me of 10 years ago. Boy, that's scary, when I started playing the game. So that's pretty exciting to me to have yet another version of my favorite caster that I can throw on the table.
Totally agree. Like my first army was Khador. I bought a Khador battle box the day War Machine came to my local game store.
That's awesome.
And when Hordes dropped, I bought Trolls. So I'm right there with you. Like Madrak 3 is, he's real tempting.
Yeah, I like to hear that.
Oh, you away from Kador, huh?
He's real tempting.
I'll take it. So when they made us send our questions to Dallas ahead of time, I asked him a question insinuating that Trollbloods were his favorite faction, and they came back with a clarifying question, and I'm like, no, we understand that you probably have deluded yourself into thinking that you like other factions, but we go into this with the assumptions that trolls are everyone's favorite faction, even should they decide to play something else.
Because why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they be everyone's
trolls
favorite
are freaking
faction?
cool.
They're cool. They're cool looking.
They're cool.
So,
like, trolls are cool.
Absolutely.
I can dig it. Even if they're not your favorite, we'll pretend they are.
I don't have favorites.
They're like your
But
children.
if I
right?
had enough time and money, I would probably play a lot more of the factions than I do.
If I could take you over there to this side of my house, you would see I don't have a favorite.
It's okay. Denial's a thing. Don't worry about it.
I don't think there's a faction that I can't at least put a battle box on the table.
Nice. I've been that way at one point. I got to get back to that point, but we'll get there again eventually. But there's nothing more fun when somebody tries to get into the game and you can go, which one do you want to try? You're like, well, which ones do you have? I'm like, no. Which one do you want to try? So it's pretty fun.
So, okay.
So sorry, I digressed on the Madrak phrase.
That's okay. We're going to get back to Madrak in a bit, but I'll do a quick rapid fire of some of the questions I had. So these are all right around your the way you paint for Privateer Press. So first question I had is, when you get a new model, say when you get Madrak, how much of the control do you have, or how is the color scheme decided? Like which plaid you use, what the skin tones you use, how is that process done as the studio painter?
I mean, a lot of that stuff is established in the fluff, right? Like if you look inside the Trollblood Forces of Hordes Trollblood book, there's a Qatari pattern for each of like the major creels, right? So that's right there. Skin tones kind of established as well. If you're a Northkin, we have a recipe for Northkin. If you're a troll, you have the recipe for troll. If you're a albino, then because you're a sorcerer, sorcerers are all albinos, so you're an albino. So it's kind of established in the fluff. But the process is we have color concepts. Like I'm sure you've seen pictures of those get, like I had the Madrak one at Gen Con with me. Our art director, Michael Valancourt, he'll do like a color pass on it, and then I'll go over it with him and just kind of think about it from a miniature point of view. Like, well, once we shrink that down to a miniature, like we need this color here, we need this color here. And so I work directly with Michael Valancourt, and like sometimes even I'll ask Doug Seacat, like, what color should this be? What do you imagine this in your head? And so we try to keep everything very consistent and very much in tune with the fluff, the story, and the background of the Iron Kingdoms.
Awesome, and it shows that he goes through it as well. Because the sort of a related question is, when you get a model, like, do you have a technique you have to follow as well? Because I know in some, the reason I bring this up, I was looking at some of the artwork for some of the older Kador models. And sometimes you're seeing different gradient patterns, like different styles of painting. Do you have any allowances to be able to bring your own style to it, just the techniques you use, or is it more you're looking for consistency across the different painters at PP?
Yeah, I mean, we're always looking for consistency, right? But I mean, everybody's going to have their own personality, but we definitely look for consistency. And I mean, it's also a growth thing, right? Like if you go back 10, 12 years, miniature painting's kind of evolved and new techniques have been developed to make things look a little different. But we're looking, it's consistency. You know, we're painting an army when you think about it. We're not just painting studio models, we're painting a studio army.
And that makes sense where you don't have it, you're going to try to get as consistent across the board. I was just curious if there's different techniques or styles that people bring, if how much of an allowance you have for that. But yeah, the stuff.
Oh, techniques? Techniques. I mean, I try to use everything I can, right? Like, it's for me, the more techniques I have in my tool belt, the better product I can produce for privateer press, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's about the end, not the road, right? So, I mean, I use dry brush, I use wash. You know, these are considered basic techniques, but you know, if it's appropriate for a model that I'm working on, I'll bust out my big fat dry brush and dry brush the model.
I think that's worked for so many people, and I think a lot of people will be happy to hear to say that you're using that as well.
Oh yeah, man.
Okay, so I guess the next question I had is, so how much lead time are you given for painting a model? Like, if from the time they give it to you, or what's the time they usually allow you to get that model done?
My personal average is about 3 days to finish a model, something like that.
I think we all hate you a little bit right now.
So like if I get a model and I start it, it's like 3 days is the average. Colossals and Gargantuans are much more.
I'm pretty sure I don't paint that fast. Pretty sure.
Well, I know for a fact I don't paint that fast.
8 hours a day.
I've been learning how to paint for 10 years, and it takes me way longer than that.
I mean, that's 8 hours a day, though.
True.
That's true.
And I'm sure you've got a good rhythm going too.
All day long. Oh yeah, rhythm. Yeah, you get a podcast, you get music. I have my paint playlist. I throw on my headphones and.
Okay, wait, you said you have a paint playlist, so go ahead, give us a little taste of a song or two that's on your paint playlist. This is important, man.
Yeah.
So right now, Tool is really big. Baroness.
Okay.
Royal Thunder.
I don't know them.
No, Royal Thunder.
I'm
like
old.
A bluesy. I'm old. It's like a bluesy southern kind of grunge band.
Oh, okay.
I think their sophomore album just came out recently.
Oh, cool.
A lot of Iron Maiden.
Nice. See, now you're showing your age.
Oh yeah, dude.
All right. If there's Iron Maiden in there, that makes me feel a little.
And kind of anything. Like I like a wide variety of music. So like even like pop, punk, classical, jazz, country, certain country, a lot of country. I like kind of a mix, but like my paint, I like that kind of flowy, jammy kind of music to get going.
Well, I'm just trying to justify me listening to like electronic classical stuff, like from Bond and things like that. So
yeah, that's perfect.
That's what I listen to when I paint. So
I paint a podcast.
Just trying to gain legitimacy here, all right?
See, at home it's movies. Like I have my movies to paint by collection. Nice. So that's like Seven Samurai, Conan the Barbarian, The Thing, Shaun of the Dead.
Nice. Well, like I think if any of our listeners don't know what any of those are, it's time for you to go remedy that, folks, and because none of those movies are bad movies to watch.
Not a one.
The production quality is not the best on some of those movies, but that's not why you watch them.
Nope, not at all.
So
I watch Conan for the philosophy.
Right.
I'm not even joking. I'm not even joking. I feel like that movie is one of the most philosophical movies ever made.
All right, fair enough.
And there's just like, everybody's like, what?
Well, okay.
Sounds like you're giving us a topic
now
for
I
the
have
next
to go
episode.
watch it again. Philosophy, what? Cool, very cool.
Okay, so I'll switch us back to paint
I'm talking
again.
about the original one with Conan.
The Conan movie with Conan? With Conan O'Brien did a Conan movie?
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about. That would be awesome.
Conan as Conan. Yeah, that would be very funny. I'd watch that. Getting back to trying to get us back on topic just a little bit. So we talked about techniques, saying you bring in it whatever you can do. What brushes do you use, and do you use an airbrush?
Airbrush, yeah. I mean, I'll use an airbrush for like base coats mainly.
Now, do you ever do it for like doing multi, like almost like the Zenith priming, where you get the again the shadow effects? Okay.
No, not really. I do some of that stuff at home, but in the studio, I pretty much do everything by brush, and so I just prime black. Everything is prime black.
Okay.
Everything. And then I will use an airbrush to occasionally throw down a base coat.
Mm-hmm.
Hang on. Now you make me feel bad about priming everything white.
Well, I mean,
it's just personal preference. That's all it is. It's personal preference.
Well, the thing too is I know the PP or the P3 paints, I find are the pigment count on them is really good, so you can prime black and not actually affect some of the colors once it's on there, which is good.
So
yeah, and I mean,
how much mixing, how much hand mixing do you do on your own when you're painting? Do you just pretty much go straight with what's there, or do you find yourself diluting and mixing a lot? Or is that not a clear question? Because I have a tendency to always mix. I'm almost always mixing in either a darker shade of the color I'm using, or even a black or white as I layer my colors. My big problem with that is sometimes it's hard to stay consistent when I'm painting like a unit. But it works really well when I'm painting a single model, or like a solo or
well, you should be painting your units in assembly line style.
I know, and I do kind of, but I
But like mixing, so I mean, when we paint a studio model, you look in the back of a Forces book, right? And there's these paint guides.
Yeah, I think that's where a lot of us started.
Why stop? Like, well, whenever I paint, so let's say I get a new Trollblood model, right? So Madrak 3.
Okay.
The very first thing I do is I walk over to the shelf and I pull the Forces of Hordes Trollblood book off the shelf. And I review all the steps laid out in that book. And I'm like, okay, well, I know I'm going to paint this armor steel. So I look at the steel recipe and I just use that recipe that's laid out in the book.
Oh, I see where you're going here.
I just actually use the recipes laid out in the book. So, and there are some things you have to mix, like Legion. If you play Legion, you have to mix the flesh color. Yeah,
that's true.
But everything in all of our paints are designed to have a base, a shade, and a highlight. So when you look at our paint line, there's a base, shade, and highlight, and you can use those to paint your army without having to mix. Now, if you want to mix, write it down. Do you have a paint diary?
Yeah, I do. I take usually on my, it's just one of those, it's a sketchbook, kind of one of those little ones. And I can put a little swath of the paint and then write down what paint I used. Usually it's P3 paint. And then I'll write if I mixed it at all, I'll mix it as well. But yes, I do keep a diary, but the reason I do that is because I have a tendency not to go with studio skin tones. So I have a tendency to kind of mix it up more on those. And so I do the same thing. Yep.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I do similar to that. Dallas, you got to talk so we can see it full screen. There you go, Fraser.
Paint diaries, man. Use them.
I do actually. I'm not trying to make stuff look bad, but yes, and again, that's because I have a tendency to go with weird skin colors. Not weird, but I like earth tone skin colors. And I know that traditionally in fluff-wise, trolls are all blue or albino, but you know, I like to mix it up a little bit if I can. But
well,
especially,
then it's perfect.
Yeah, especially
it gives you a more natural look than just mix it up, because no one has the exact same skin color as anybody else.
Exactly.
It's better.
But I like where you're getting at, where you say you take the forces, right, the recipe right out of the forces book, because I think a lot of people, myself included, maybe don't tap into that resource enough, and not that we want everything to be uniform as we paint it, but it will create a similar feel throughout your army, so that it all feels like it came from the same era or time period as you're painting. And I think that's a good. I think it's great advice, actually. Something that I myself could follow lots better than I have in the past. So,
well, and the other thing is like something like changing up those recipes. So like Signar in particular, Signar the Signar gold, that recipe. Like you can look at that gold and be like, well, that's what I want to use on my trolls. I don't want the dingy brown. Like you can use that recipe. You can add a drop or two of brown ink to molten bronze and use that as a base coat instead of molten bronze to get a richer, deeper bronze. Like those are more like, for me, like those are the studio way to paint it, right? But
yeah,
you can take those things and kind of manipulate them with just a little bit of color, and you can change them and make them your own. And you can apply them to different things. You could take the Khador red color scheme and out of the Khador book and say, well, I'm going to paint my Cephalix. That's how I'm going to paint my Cephalix, is just use the Khador red and just do it just like that. That way you have more recipes than just what's laid out.
So I like that you said that too, because I have a unit of champions and a hero that I decided were from the Khador area. And so I used the Khador armor recipe for their armor, because I figured they scavenged it and took it all from maybe Man of Wars or other Khadoran soldiers. And so, and I found it looks pretty cool, actually, some trolls with Khador colored armor, and it worked out really well for me. So I love it. You're giving me lots of validation, Dallas. So I appreciate it.
I mean, we do that in studio. Look at the look at Maximus.
Yeah. Well, and you said, and you brought it up, you jumped into my next question was, have you ever taken like the base coat or taken another color and augmented it with ink? It sounds like that you've done that regularly. So I think you said it already, but it's something that I have done to maybe alter the color a little bit or just give it a different sheen, especially with my armors. I like to add a little bit of ink to my base coat to give it more of that metallic look, even on like the war beasts and things like that. And I found that it has worked out well for me anyways in the past.
Yeah.
So I like it. I like where you're going with that. And I some of my favorite colors in the game are like pig iron and the cold steel. And there's nothing wrong with you throw in some Arctic blue or some ink in with it, and you can really modify that paint, but you still get that underlying metal look to it as you're putting it on. I think anyways, for whatever that's worth, it's worked really well for some of my metals in the past.
Yeah, that works perfect. Like I add pig iron, you can add a touch of brown ink and a touch of Exile blue.
Nice.
You get a really, really rich, darker armor plate. You can add brown ink to bootstrap leather and get a richer red brown for your leather.
Oh, that's a great idea for the bootstrap. That's one of my other favorite colors. Is that
bootstrap is awesome.
So very cool. And so you use exclusively, Fraser asked us already, but you use pretty much exclusively P3 paints in most of your work painting?
Oh yeah. I mean, my paint desk right in front of me has all P3 paints, the whole line right in front of me.
Yeah, I've got most of the line as well. I like the way they go onto the models, and I like the consistency and color they have, even if you're painting on metal or plastic or some of the resins and things like that. So I like it.
I also like the fact they thin well for airbrush use as well. I found the pigment. It's a nice dense pigment. So I painted a bunch of Kador with using the Kador base, and they went through the airbrush without any issue at all.
Yeah, that's our paints thin down real nice and go right through an airbrush real perfectly.
Yep. Completely.
I thin them a lot with my brush all the time. Maybe that's not a good technique to use, but that's why I asked about mixing, because I'm always mixing a little bit. I like to, like I said, I like to make it more unique if I can. And so I'm always playing with the colors and writing down what I like and what works. And I've found that unlike some of the other brands, that P3 paint, really, you can throw a little water in it and really mix it well, or thin it down for use in my airbrush. So that works out well for me. Like, I'm not a great painter, but for myself, I like to use what I've got at least and try and make it look like someone better than me painted it. So,
and for when you're doing,
so you got
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to ask, when you are doing when you are mixing paints or thinning things down, do you use just water, or do you use any like different mediums to do that as well?
I use just water, like the P3 paints, just a couple drops of water to thin it down for the 2-brush blend. That's the technique we use in the studio. You just thin it down just a little bit. I use mixing medium. Mm-hmm. This is not to thin down paint, but this is to more break apart the number of paint particles in a concentrated area to get a thinner distribution of color across an area. So I use that, but that's it. It's just water and P3 mixing medium. That's all I use. And my spit.
Yeah, of course.
and spit. And if you're Fraser, a little bit of backwash because you've drank out of your painting cup.
Actually, I have yet to do that. Thankfully.
Water in front.
Oh, you haven't done
front.
that?
Nope.
Oh, I've done that.
Up to the side.
No, I use an old CD tray or a CD cover, like the blank CD things. I use that as my water, so it's a big shallow thing. So if I pick that up, I'm completely beside myself at that point. So just don't put it in a cup. That's the biggest.
You want to know my trick?
Go ahead.
Yes, we do.
You want to know my trick? So I have a white coffee mug. This is the only cup I drink out of at home.
Oh, I see.
This is it. I don't drink out of anything else. Water, tea, wine. Everything goes in the white coffee cup.
Mostly to avoid drinking your own paint. Is that what you're doing? I can learn from this man.
Well, it's that, and also this coffee cup is a pint.
Oh, wow. That's huge.
Gotta love the multi-purpose.
So Fraser, you talked earlier about this albino skin recipe, and he flashed a piece of paper that he has on hand.
Thank you.
And I think we've all struggled with albino skin. At least normal people like me struggle with it. Good painters probably don't, but so talk to us a little bit about your techniques and your recipe for albino skin. Because it's reverse color for me, and it's hard for me to get the dark skin tones are easy for me, but those light skin tones, I just struggle with them. So tell me, oh master of painting things with the very cool name.
So do you want the recipe, or do you want more of the concept and theory?
Yes.
Yeah. I would say.
Yes, please.
So one of my coworkers, the graphic design manager, Lane Garrett, she has a large collection of snakes and frogs and lizards and stuff like that. And she has a lot of kind of knowledge about these kind of things. And she knows a lot about albinoism for some weird reason, because we all have these weird collection of knowledge, right?
Yeah, that's
and so I got
unique.
Yeah. So I went and I talked to her, and she showed me some of the things about albinoism. And so sometimes you see on when you Google albino, there are these animals that are pure white,
Yeah.
and those are not albino. They have another weird name that I can't remember, but they're not actually albino. So albino just means a lack of melanoma,
Right.
or how you pronounce that, right? So that's why when you look at true albinos, they have, like an albino snake might have some yellow scales. They might have, they always, the pink eyes, the pink in the recesses and stuff like that. So I took that information and tried to come up with something to look like, what would that translate for trolls, right? Because if you look at the base recipe for the troll bloods, there is sanguine and blue in their skin. So there is a red in the skin. What makes trolls dark is the blue.
Yeah.
So if albinoism is a lack of the melatonin, it would remove the darkness from your skin. That's what makes you light. So my thought was to remove the blue. So I started playing with some colors and came up with a more gray, because if something's pure white and then shrunk down to a miniature, I still have to have contrast. So,
exactly. Yeah.
Yes. So I removed a lot of the blue from the troll blood to get more of a purple gray.
Okay.
And then used a lot of magenta and carnal pink for the mids and the highlights.
Okay.
To kind of get Madrak looking like he's an albino.
Oh, he looks so
and not
cool.
Just a.
If you can get that skin tone right, he looks so cool.
Wait till you see the finished one.
Oh, I can't
wait till you see the finished one.
We're so excited.
Extremely.
So for the base color, I use Troll Blood highlight and the tiniest amount of Troll Blood base. This is a lot of mixing and a lot of two brush blending and a lot of glazing, by the way, just to kind of disclaimer. And that was kind of the base color though. Very, very, very small amount of blue, just to kind of establish that the color is there, or was there.
Okay.
I'm going to remove it. I added Crixbane base to that.
Okay.
And what that does is adds a little green and turns that base color to a gray color. And I use that in the shadows, like in the around the eyes, the cheekbones, the back of the neck, under the chin kind of stuff.
Oh, that's great.
Then I added some magenta, murderous magenta, to that color again. And then I went through and I refined all the lines. So like the little anger lines, the lip lines, the lines around the eyes, went in and refined all that with those. Then I took pure murderous magenta, some water and some mixing medium, and I kind of glazed around the eyes and up here on the forehead a little bit, and the lips, because you want the lips to be more pink, right? Because your lips are pink, so if you get more pink,
okay,
the lips are more pink. Then I started highlighting with Troll Blood highlight, just to kind of block in some highlights. And then I added Morrow white to the Troll Blood highlight to refine the highlights for the sharper edges and stuff like that. Then, I know, there's a lot of stuff on this one.
Well, Morrow white's one of my favorites for that one of your last highlights. Morrow white's great for almost any other color that you're going to mix it in.
Yeah.
So and highlight with it. I like Morrow white. I use it a lot. So
that and Minoth white highlight.
Yep.
So then I took Murderous Magenta, Carnal Pink, and Morrow white, and I made a really, really thin glaze. And I kind of glazed his entire skin with that. And what that did is it just, because it's pink, it just pushed all that blue out and turned everything to a gray.
And do you use the same the medium to do the glaze as well?
Yeah, because so what mixing medium is just paint with no pigment.
Right.
Oh, okay.
That's all that is. So when you add a couple drops of mixing medium to your paint, what you're doing is taking the number of pigment particles per million or whatever and stretching that out.
Okay.
So whenever you paint with it, it becomes more translucent. So I wanted a translucency. I wanted that sheen and push all the color underneath and make it look more like flesh.
Okay, gotcha.
Now, the last thing I did for Madrak 3 is I changed the color of his little rock crustules. You know, the little rock things on the arms and chins.
Yeah, do we have the technical the technical name for those? Is there a name? Because I call them the rock thingies,
yes.
the rock zits.
They're calcium. They're calcium deposits.
I call them crustules.
Crustules. I like your term better.
So with those, I just painted them sanguine sanguine base and murderous magenta mixed together for the base. And then I just highlighted with murderous magenta. And then I mixed murderous magenta and Mara white for like the final little sharp edges to make them pink as well. Because I figured if he's albino, those would change with him.
So I've used a lot of sanguine because I love the color and how it mixes with the Trollblood colors. But I haven't used murderous magenta much at all. So I'm looking forward to trying that out on my next couple Trollblood models. And I happen to have a unit of rune shapers I need to paint. So this is going to be fun.
Perfect. Also, the list of that recipe is on our forums.
Yep. Yeah, it is.
We have the we have the Ask the Studio thread, and you can ask me any question about painting, and I answer it. And so I have that posted, so you can go back and refer to it. And,
we're also going to get Dan to post it on our TrollbloodScrum section at Hand Cannon when we post the podcast in a few days. So very cool. So, all right, Fraser, do you have any more questions for Dallas? We've been doing painting hobby awkward silence extravaganza.
We should do this every week. Let's get Dallas here every week. We can just keep going. So
let's all three of us stare at the screen and not say anything for 30 seconds.
That's why Danny edits out these lovely awkward silences. So we're just so comfortable with each other. We can do that without any judgment. Well, until you brought it up. So thanks for that. That really covered off all of my key questions, and this has been fantastic. Because now I'm going to, as soon as we're done here, I'm going to grab my Trollblood book and take a look at all the plaids and see what I can do with that, and look at the skin.
Oh, we didn't even ask about plaids, did we?
We kind of did, because he covered off saying that the book has each of its guidelines. But yeah, maybe.
Okay, so the Trollblood's Force book taught me how to do plaids. And I can't when did it come out? It's been years now since that book came out.
Like 2010.
And I struggled with them. I couldn't do them ever since the Force book came out. Me, average painter guy, I can do plaids easy. You just follow the recipe in the Trollblood's Force book, and it works great. And it's way easier. Don't be intimidated by your plaids. You just follow their step-by-step in the Forces book, and you won't be disappointed. At least 9 times out of 10. 9 Cruel Warriors out of 10.
So the biggest thing about painting the plaid, the Qatari, is you keep it simple, right?
Yeah. Less is
like,
more.
Even though when you look at Qatari, it looks very complex. You know, the plaid is very complex. There's, you might Google, tartan, and you'll see, a whole bunch of lines going every direction. You can't do that on miniature. It's just too much information in such a small space. So you want to break it down to the primal kind of fundamentals, to bring it back to primal, and kind of keep broad colors nicely spaced out, and don't try to put too many in a space. Like on Madrak 3, I painted 3 horizontal stripes on his front of his tartan. And that's it. That's it. Yep. 3 horizontal stripes.
I'm with you. Less is more.
And
less is more with the tartans.
Oh, completely agree. And it seems like
Yes.
even if you look at Doomy 3, like Doomy 3 was the same thing, where it seems like the style of the Atari is changing, where you're using bigger blocks, which again makes it easier to put it on there correctly. So it's definitely keep it simple.
Yeah, it's easier, and it just reads to the eye better. You're working with a model that's, tiny. If you try to put a bunch of information in that area, it looks like chaos to the eye. So you're trying to spread those colors out, keep the blocks nice and fat, and that way your mind and your eyes can easily read the information, and you'll fill in the rest with your brain. You'll be like, oh, that's tartan, and then you'll move on to the cool glowy bit up here.
The runes are more fun anyways.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Dallas, we appreciate you coming on, and I hope we haven't bored you to death, but we especially love getting more hobby side of it. I know for me, the big draw to the game 10 years ago was the game, and so it took me years to get to the point where I felt comfortable even painting my own stuff or even wanting to. And so I'm now to the point where I'm always looking for ways to make my process simpler and easier, but still put out a good product on the table, so that when I put my models on the table, I have a good, I feel good about my experience on the table. I don't feel like I'm playing with the ghost army, which is totally fine. I play with unpainted models all the time. I'm not an elitist by any stretch, but I am not a good painter. I'm average at best, but I've come to enjoy it.
Whoa. Do you paint your models?
I do.
Then you're a good painter.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll take it. I'll take it.
It's not a matter of like being a good painter or a bad painter. You have these cool models. You're playing a game, like it doesn't take very much to make them look cool. Base coat, wash, dry brush, that's all you need. It takes 3 simple steps, and it's okay to mess up. Like, I have a huge collection of models that I've screwed up, They're old. I was learning. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't understand the technique, this, that, and the other. Those are okay. Like,
hey,
it's okay
I used to love, I had 2 Earthborns, and I had one was one of the first models I ever painted, and the other one was one I had painted like 8 years later. And I used to love playing them both at the same time because I loved the first one, even though the paint job maybe wasn't as good, because I remembered learning on it. I remembered how excited I was when I got into the game. And it was really neat for me to see my personal growth side by side on the table as I beat in my opponents. So
absolutely. People ask me, well, what do you do when you strip a model? And I say, I don't strip models.
Yeah, I've never stripped a model before.
I keep it. Or I touch it up. I learn from my mistake. I keep it on my desk and I go, oh yeah, I remember painting that and it's not very good. Or I remember when I discovered the first model I discovered blacklining, and I was like, whoa, right?
I still have my Reinhold Gobber Speculator when I learned out how to touch up some shadow after you were almost done. I still have that guy because I remember that lesson. I'm like, oh, so easy. Wish I'd have known that. So
it doesn't take much. It doesn't take much. You can get a cool army on the table, and you honestly kind of owe it to yourself, right? It's like,
I think so.
You just spent $30 on a Warjack. Learn how to throw, it's simple. Base coat, wash, dry brush, and your jack looks awesome. Your jack looks awesome.
And I'm the master of the 4-foot paint job. You'd be surprised at how good stuff looks from 4 feet away while you're playing. You can zoom in really close on it, and it looks like a 4-year-old drew on a piece of paper. But
my favorite painted model?
I love it. I love having my stuff painted, no matter how good or bad it might be. So I'm not winning any competitions, but I have
to win competitions. You don't have to win competitions.
I have fun with it. So
that's all that matters, is you have fun. And you know my favorite painted model?
Nope.
Is the one you just finished.
Ah, nice. Towing that line.
Now we have a new inspirational poster.
I'm not even joking.
I like it.
If you painted something and you're ready to put it on the table and you're happy with it, That's perfect. That's the most perfect painted model. You took the time, you put the model down, you learned how to throw a little base coat on there, and you brought it to the game store to play a game with me. That's my favorite model.
I like it. That's a good partying shot, I think. So, what Dallas said, if your best painted model is the one you just finished, so never stop painting. And if you need any advice, there's lots of helpful people, Dallas included. He's very active on the forums. He's very willing to talk about things, give advice, talk about things he loves. We didn't even give him a hard time about Skinners tonight, so it's been fantastic.
But now,
I'm willing to do this.
A reason for him to come back. A reason for him to come back.
Put some Skinners on the table. I played a game recently. I'm sorry, this is happening. I played a game recently, and my Skinners were baller. Okay, they came in on an ambush. They jumped in on the pig-like werbeast with the roids.
The Roadhog?
No. The light werbeast.
Oh, the light werbeast. I don't know. I don't play against him very often.
All right, he jumped on there. He tied him up. The other one was all threatening stuff and everything. It was baller.
I haven't played him enough in Mark III. I didn't play him very much in Mark II, although I did early on. But I think there's some potential there with ambush. They have a high mat. They can potentially hit hard if you bring the right buffer. But ambush alone gives you a good tactical presence with an in-faction model that can benefit from in-faction buffs. So defense
17 against werbeast, you're going to tie werbeast up for at least a turn.
Yep. I've liked scattergunners since before everyone else liked them. So who am I to
There you go.
Ask Matt. I always like the models everyone else hates. So
you're the troll blood hipster.
I'm not the rainbow of the krills like Matt, but I'm pretty close.
I just proclaimed my love for Zakova 1.
That's right. You already proclaimed that. So cool. Well, we need to wrap this up. I'm getting the evil 1-year-old cord pullers coming up to me. So.
Well, there we go.
Here he is. He boldly went is what the shirt says. So, anyways, Dallas, thank you for coming on with us. Fraser, thanks for hosting it for me, and we sure appreciate you. Please don't be a stranger. We loved having you on. We love talking our favorite game, especially Trolls, but we like all of the game, and we certainly appreciate you taking some of your valuable spare time and hanging
Not
with
a problem.
us.
I enjoyed myself.
So thank you very much. And with that, Fraser, you got to sign us off, man.
I have to sign us off. This has been an episode of the latest episode of TrollbloodScrum. See, I can't even close it. It's past my bedtime.
You made the baby cry.
On that note, this has been TrollbloodScrum. Stay tuned for
awesome.
another episode. Wow, that was interesting. So, thank you so much, Dallas. Really appreciate it, and you're welcome back whenever you want. If you ever want to jump on and talk stuff, we'd be more than happy to have you back. So,
dude, I had an absolute blast. Contact the same guy you contacted before.
Perfect.
We would love to have you on again. Sorry about the baby scream just then. He's nice. What's wrong, baby boy? He's got to be a Crix player or Legion player with all that crying. So
he heard my voice. That was it.
But we appreciate you, and we would certainly love to have you on again. Maybe talk a little shop. Maybe do a Kador versus Trolls shop talk and do a little Zerkova versus Jarl or something crazy like that.
Oh, Jarl. That guy's awesome.
Should get you and Matt to have a game against each other. That'd be fun.
Ooh, Matt's right there by you.
He is.
Where's he at?
He just takes the ferry. He's just right across the water to the island there.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Nothing like setting up a grudge match without the person being there.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Promise Matt to a game with Dallas that he has no control over. I'm game. Let's do it.
There we go. Well, it's
anyways, Dallas, thank you so much. I've got to run. Sure, certainly, most certainly.
No, no, it normally goes live. It normally goes. Let's just say it normally goes live later on tonight. Do you want me to just post it? I'll give him the private link so he reviews it first before we make it public, or is that a concern? Because I can hold off until he gives the go ahead. Or okay, because I don't mind keeping it private until he gets a chance to view it if that's something that's preferred, or because I don't want to. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'll still post it. I just don't post it as unlisted, so no one can find it because it's just the only way you can get to it is if you have the link. So I'll post it as unlisted. Yeah, and then once we get the go ahead, yeah, it's okay. Yeah, we don't want to shoot ourselves in the foot. So exactly. So thank you again.